Yes, Leslie. Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Oh, it's okay. It's okay. You look good.
Thank you.
I've been monitoring your Twitter page.
Yeah.
And you love Ghana.
I do love Ghana.
Oh.
I do. It's hard not to love Ghana, surely.
Which places have you been to?
So far, I've only been able to leave this capital a few times. So we've visited Kokobite, we visited the Volta region, and this is my first visit to the Ashanti region, to Kumasi.
Okay. I learned that on the Nkrumah's birthday, you went to Akosombo.
Exactly.
And you were amazed by the design, the engineering design of the Akosombo Dam.
It's incredible. What an achievement. What an achievement.
Wow.
And for it still to be so important to Ghana today, after all those years, is really quite something.
Wow. Amazing. So you've been spending almost 2 days in Kumasi.
That's right, yeah. Yesterday and today.
Is it the first time of coming to Kumasi?
Exactly, yes.
Oh. And I know you've been reading more about the Ashanti history. Yeah. How does it feel meeting the king, His Majesty Otumfuo?
What an honor! What an honor! But also, what a lovely, lovely man. He and his wife welcomed myself and my team so warmly yesterday, and we had really good conversation with them both and with his team. So yeah, it was a real privilege.
Oh yeah, Britain and that of Ashanti have historical background, a lot of them, and I know you've been reading some of them. Does it meet what you saw somewhere at Mansha Palace?
Yeah, so from what I've read, I understood the Ashanti kingdom and the Ashanti history and culture to be so rich, so steeped in tradition. And then seeing some of that yesterday when we went to the National Culture Centre and again at the Mansha Palace, it was really, it's a bit like seeing history brought to life. Seeing all of these incredible ornaments and gold weights and stools and the battle dress with the amulets. It was really amazing, really amazing.
You like African artifacts?
Very much, yeah, very much.
So what was that motivation coming from? Is it because of what you have read, or naturally they are appealing to you?
I've always been interested in all sorts of parts of the world from a very young age, and that's why I became a diplomat, frankly. And then my family and I, my husband and I, first came to Africa to work in Sierra Leone a long time ago now, and ever since then we've both been really interested and are really happy now to have this opportunity to explore another part of the continent, including with our children.
So what was the main conversation between you and His Majesty?
We talked quite a lot about education, actually, because earlier in the day I'd been with Lady Julia at an event hosted by the British Council, because they are in a partnership with the Otumfuo Foundation looking at education. And particularly yesterday, it was about getting more girls involved in education and exploring some of the, in some instances, quite basic changes that schools, educational establishments can make in order to get girls into education younger, to keep them there for longer, and to make sure that they are more engaged and getting a better quality of education while they're there. It's something that I know is very close to His Majesty's heart and to Lady Julia's heart. So that was quite a big part of yesterday's conversation.
But why the focus on girl child?
So girls are still underrepresented in education at the lower
in Africa, or maybe across
the world, actually. In Ghana particularly, they are about equal with boys at the early stages of education, but by the time you get to senior high school and then particularly to tertiary education, the numbers really drop off. And that matters not only for girls, it matters for society at large, it matters for the whole of the world, because if we aren't including 50% of our population in the economic activity, in creating livelihoods, creating jobs, then we're all losing out. We're never going to realise a country's full potential, and therefore our collective world's full potential, if we're not involving everybody in that effort.
So Britain has a policy for that, particularly for that.
Yeah, exactly. So one of our Prime Minister's long-term priorities has been to support countries across the world to achieve 12 years of full-time full-time quality education for every girl. And earlier this year, before I came to Ghana, the Prime Minister's UK Special Envoys for Education and for gender both visited Ghana to see what's happening. And there's been some incredible progress happening in Ghana, including over a short period of time.
I see. Let me stretch it to the scholarship program that you also have been given to Ghana. Britain has been given Ghana scholarship. Tell me more about that.
The Achieving Scholarship. This is one of my favourite things to talk about. Because each year, when the new cohort of Achieving Scholars set off for the UK, we get to meet with them and to talk about why they decided to pursue the course of study that they are going to pursue and what they hope to do with it when they come back. And it's always inspiring. Essentially, the idea behind this scheme is that we will take the brightest and the best, we'll take them to the UK, they'll experience a year's worth of world-class education at some of the top establishments, and all of the fees are entirely covered, but they then need to come back to their home country and to bring the benefit of that learning home. So part of the selection process is talking to these inspiring young people about what they want to do for their people, for their country when they come back. It's brilliant. A little plug, the window for applications for next year is still open until the 2nd of November, so please, if you think you've got what it takes, visit chevening.org.
You mentioned that. What it takes. What does it take?
So look, it's really competitive. We get thousands of applications in Ghana every year, and we offer about 20 scholarships. So right the way across the world, this is really the cream of the crop, the best of the best. We're looking for people who already have some experience in their field, and who have got a really clear idea of how the course that they want to pursue is going to help them to go further, to do better back home in Ghana. So it's not just about, I want to go and pursue this course of study because it will benefit me. It's how I'm going to come back, how I'm going to make use of this incredible education, but also the network that goes with it. The Achieving alumni is a really strong network in order to do good for Ghana.
And what's the address?
Chevening.org.
Chevening.org. And it's open until?
2nd of November.
Wow.
We look forward to seeing your applications.
Myself?
Oh, please. Please.
That would be amazing.
Open to everyone.
Okay. No age limits?
No age limit.
Okay. Then I can qualify that. Okay. Now, looking at Kumasi in general, and maybe in the Ashanti region, I know that the UK government is undertaking more projects in Kumasi in terms of the airports, in terms of the markets. Which one are you more particular or maybe familiar with?
Well, yesterday I visited the KATH hospital site, the Cath hospital site. That's a project I was surprised to learn is actually older than I am. It was started originally in 1976. It then stalled in 1979.
You're still young.
A series of false starts since then, but now we've got a British company, British investment, and within 2 years that construction is going to be finished, and that's a site that's going to benefit the people of Kumasi, the people of this region, enormously. So I think that's a really great one. I'm really proud of the UK involvement in that.
And I know that we're also getting support for the construction of the central markets.
That's right. I'm looking forward to visiting there later today, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I understand that phase 1 is complete. I'm looking forward to hearing what the traders think about that.
Okay.
And phase 2 is shortly to be underway.
All right. That's the biggest market we have in West Africa. It used to be the biggest in West Africa. And that fund, I believe, that is going to pave way for more market women to have access to their trading activities. Do you have any name after the market? Maybe we can name the market Queen Elizabeth Market.
Queen Elizabeth Market. That would be wonderful. But it needs. So yes, I'm proud of the UK investment into it. But the reason that I'm so proud of that is because that market is a priority for the people here, right here. Those are the people who are going to benefit. So I hope it will have a name that will encapsulate that.
Yeah. You have a huge responsibility. You being the first female High Commissioner to Ghana. How does that feel anyway?
So having this role would be a huge privilege anyway. It's a real honour to be chosen to be the Queen's representative to Ghana.
The Queen's representative, Her Majesty's representative.
Exactly. And for a country like Ghana that's so important for the UK in terms of our relationship, it's a huge honour. For me to be the first woman in this position just adds that little bit extra to that. But I'm conscious that I want to make the most of that. So I really want to use the time that I'm here to show young women, to show girls that there are really no limits on what they can achieve. They set their heart on doing something, they put the work in, they can get there.
Wow. Women breaking the glass ceilings. I like that. You're also the non-resident ambassador to Benin and Burkina Faso. I mean, imagine what's going to happen in your office. You have telephones, francophone telephones, and then anglophone telephones. Bonjour, ça va? Good morning here. Est-ce que vous parlez le français, non?
Oui, je parle français. Oui. J'ai reçu 6 mois de leçons avant de venir ici.
Ah bon? Enchanté. Oui. Anyway, we are talking to the High Commissioner to Ghana, the British High Commissioner to Ghana. This is our interpreter, and I think he has to give a summary of so far what you have discussed with us. Okay, Kwame, where the
quick one. One no I shall say na obisa say first time or the about Ghana and or say first time or the Ghana and the first time so the about Kumasi any na wedi kan akọ voter region and afi waba Ashanti region and so and was spending 2 days ewo Kumasi and na osan bisa ne say oko otumfo say tutuo na what is saying no so otumfo one ne Lady Julia omo ni papa na oda omo ase isanse nra nkoma ono omo ekodi ye no na kama na ebeboa UK na fe besan so aboa Asante man so we say Asante ye wo rich culture ye wa mamra kama wasi ye nyina ahwe ne yesum yi enra so onya kwanya culture center okowe said kontare niema Asante ya mamre ne niema ye de ehwohwa ye ho no kama na obisanse na niji Asante fo ne aka na ebi man niema opa no say na niji ho pa na ade a efiti ne mofra brim ena na niji saade no we sanse bra no usu ano ne maame ene ne papa eba serenyon kakra omo ebeta abato omo anche nanso free wo no bibi niema no awura numu eno na odi edi dwuma nunti ena ama na niji culture ho na niji sede yesi ye ade ewo abiman mu no ubisa no bibi efa Africa ene ekwan a yibetimi afa so ne omo aka bomu na yetumi aboa na de afri empuntu ewo maimu ene wo se ade ba kwesi na ni so education enti obae no ne otumfo akasa woni na akasa afa otumfo ni project a wode aba wode boa adesua no ne momade ba kwesi na ni so pa no ma adesua ena obisa ne se adenti ena ma no so mema ni ema ni nyina no eko school kro nenso eko university no a na se edu tertiary na won se ma no drop kakra enunti enisi na ni so se ombeboa na get child education no enso atumi agina yie na atumi aboa ye mabunu no ama omotimi anya adesua ewo omaimu ena obebisa bibi efa the scholarship eno se pa so obisa na sa question no nkoma opese odi pa na eyade a omo pese omo ye na omo de eboa amaya omo wakwanya se omo de omo hye sa scholarship no mu no na obehwe afibia nipa omo de omo application se ba ebro apem eni echi na nso nipa be se 20 adu no eno wo se omo select omo na botaye ntia omo de yes selection no ne se omo de okwa no akosua bibi now they abeboa o man no ne se wo kwa akosua bibi now they atena wo ne mu usua adekro no now they ababa na they ababeboa o country no ye do a free money so benya higher education now they ababeboa
ana oh
it's very good
uye
aka last one. The last one projects are omo ewo Ashanti region.
Yeah.
Wabo Konfanoche senra oko Konfanoche okoye omo projects omo contractors na ewe na omo afinishi project. He also mentioned Central Market say nyankopon ya adoma ochina ene ye wo free as obeko no akwa check na na aka chense yemfento Queen Elizabeth no so enkeye na mumojidi se edwa no yen ya ye wo Ghana na abirman mu no na edi ba be ye adwumanti ye pe bibia ye betumi identify yourself with next year de etuna ojidi se betumi aboapa.
All right, I bet you didn't hear anything.
No, it sounds lovely.
Akwaba.
Medasi.
I like that. Now let's look at global politics. We are now so battling with COVID. How has COVID actually affected UK, and how has it affected Africa, and of course maybe Ghana?
Yeah, so I mean the impacts of the pandemic are clear for everybody to see right the way across the world, not only in terms of health, and we can't talk about coronavirus without thinking about the families of those who have lost loved ones to the disease, and also those who are still battling with the long-term effects of this illness. There's so much about it that we still don't understand. It's been absolutely incredible watching the speed at which scientists right the way around the world have come to understand more and more about this illness, about how to treat it and how to prevent it, but still so much that we don't know. And then aside from the health impacts, the economic impacts are obviously immense, both of lockdowns internally, but also the restrictions on global travel. I think we've all come to realise how much we rely on other parts of the world to keep our daily lives going in the way that we're used to them. So massive impacts, lots still to do, but I hope that we're now moving towards the end of the tunnel on this.
Is it going to affect our bilateral relationship? I mean, Ghana and Britain?
I sincerely hope not. I'm pleased that the UK has donated through COVAX 850,000 vaccines to coronavirus. I know that to Ghana for coronavirus. I know that many more are needed, and you can imagine that I, like my counterparts around the world, are pushing the UK to make sure more of those donations come in this direction. But I think it's an interesting time for the UK-Ghana relationship. As the UK has left the EU, we're looking at our relationships with our partners around the world in perhaps a new light. And I mentioned before the importance that we attach to our relationship with Ghana. So we're now really hoping, as we both build back from the economic impact of coronavirus, to boost the trading relationship, the investment relationship between our two countries.
Now, travelers to UK have raised concerns about the 10-day mandatory quarantine, and they have raised issue about now they have taken 2 jabs. Why is that they have to be quarantined for almost 10 days in the UK? I don't know what you're going to do about that.
Yeah. So as we've been through the pandemic, we've seen the approach that every country has taken to travel evolve over that time period. And I think we'll continue to see that in the future. The most recent announcements from the UK that we will now move away from having a red, amber, green list to just having those countries that are on the red list and everybody else. That's a step in what will be a process towards simplifying travel conditions still further, recognising how important that is. Ghana has never been on the red list. Ghana has been on the amber list. So this is a move in the right direction for Ghana. In terms of recognition...
Move us to green.
So from now on, there'll only be red and everybody else.
Okay.
And Ghana is in the everybody else category. Okay. There have been some engagements recently about vaccines and vaccines taken in different countries and the recognition of different countries' vaccine passports. As you can imagine, when we're dealing with a pandemic on this scale, everything is moving fast and everything is very complicated because of the science. The move towards a globally recognized vaccine passport is going to be very complicated. And so the UK is taking things step by step. So So first of all, we have recognised the vaccination programmes, and I have to stress this is about the certificates.
Yeah.
It's not about the actual vaccines. So in the first instance, we've worked with those countries whose health systems we know well, those countries who are already in the green category, to work on mutual recognition of their vaccine certification. We will continue that process in stages. We've already submitted the necessary information for Ghana such that we can move towards recognition of Ghana's vaccine certification system. And you might imagine that myself and my colleagues are pushing for Ghana to move up that process. But I hope it will be a matter of time.
Yeah. Is Ghana very much important to UK?
It really is. It really is.
And how?
So not only Ghana in its own right, where because of our shared history, but also because of our shared values, our shared priorities, the importance of our trade and investment relationship, our bilateral relationship is really important. But it's also about the UK's recognition as Ghana as a global leader, as a regional leader, as a sub-regional leader, thinking about Ghana's current chairmanship of ECOWAS, Ghana's imminent place on the Security Council of the United Nations, Ghana as the host of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area Secretariat. For all sorts of reasons, Ghana is a pillar of democracy, of stability, of those shared values of tolerance, of inclusion, respect for human rights. So for many reasons, this is a really important relationship for us.
That's a commendable profile for Ghana.
Yeah, it is. It is, absolutely.
Thank you. Now, at the 76th UN General Assembly, our president actually suggested that Africa, or maybe the EU, should have a representation in the G20. So he is advocating for G21 with a representation from the AU. Is it a good suggestion?
So I thought it was a really interesting suggestion, and I'm sure our governments will be thinking about it. Thinking about how international multilateral fora can be more representative is a very important issue that my colleagues in the UK are dealing with. But as economic situations have changed over time, balance of power in the world have changed over time, we need to be making sure that these institutions that are there to represent everybody in the world really do represent everybody in the world. So I thought the President's suggestion yesterday was an interesting one.
That's okay. Africa, okay, for that matter, basically, let me put it bluntly. Nigeria, Ghana, and some other African countries, we have been struggling with the issue of corruption. And corruption at that level, at that political level. How is UK helping African countries and African leaders to fight corruption?
It's a really important question, and it's one that's come up in quite a lot of my conversations with people in Ghana, be they in politics, in the private sector, various different parts of society. I think that the government's digitisation agenda is one really important means of tackling corruption. Reducing that scope for human-to-human contact in basic services that government provides to societies is a really important step. The UK's been working to support that agenda, but also we have representatives from our National Crime Agency, our various law enforcement institutions, Border Force and others, who are present in Ghana and working with their Ghanaian equivalents, the Ghanaian law enforcement community, to, for example, build capacity in helping to trace illicit financial flows. So when there are suspicious banking transactions or money moves through the international financial systems, is very, very difficult to follow where that money came from and where it ends up. So it's a specialist skill, and it's one of the ways that we are boosting Ghanaian capacity to track who's getting money from where and for what.
What's your take on Mali and Guinea?
Yes, we have been really pleased to see the ECOWAS's robust response to what's happened in both countries. I think that The president of Ghana, as chair of ECOWAS, has been really clear about expectations for how those countries need to move back to democratic forms of government. There are clear timetables set out, and the president again referred to that yesterday in his speech at UNGA, calling for United Nations support for the stance that they're taking, and absolutely the UK supports that stance.
Anyway, you've been to Cape Coast?
I have.
You've been to Akosobo? How do we enhance our tourism potentials? How is the UK going to assist that so that we can enhance our potentials in tourism?
There's so much potential for tourism here, isn't there? So many beautiful parts of the country. I keep seeing more and more photos and adding to my list of places that I want to visit. I think
this one too.
This was yesterday. Looking at kente weaving yesterday. It was absolutely fascinating to see, and such beautiful things that people produce. I think that Ghana's Year of Return initiative was really impressive, and the Beyond the Return programme to follow up on that, to maintain the momentum that generated, was again an excellent initiative. It's a shame that the coronavirus pandemic sort of halted the momentum, perhaps, but I really hope that Ghana can recapture that. There's a lot of British Ghanaian diaspora interested in being part of that effort. So I'm looking forward to understanding better what's happening already, what the diaspora community particularly are doing, and how we might be able to build on that.
The president has, I don't know whether it's a slogan or maybe there's a literature or maybe a document to that effect, Ghana Beyond Aid. Do you believe that is achievable?
I do believe that's achievable. Okay. I do believe that's achievable, and I hope that everybody listening believes that that's achievable as well. We can't live in a world where there is one part of the global community that is rich and is giving charity to the rest of the global community. And I think that's what the president's ambition to move Ghana Beyond Aid recognises, and that Ghana is moving towards that transition. I don't pretend that it will be an easy journey, but the UK absolutely wants to support Ghana on that journey. So, for example, we're moving from providing the funding for provision of basic services to instead working towards partnerships and technical assistance that will help to build the strength of the health systems, so that Ghana is able to provide its own services without the need anymore for that external assistance. We're moving towards more of a relationship that's built on trade, on investment, on partnerships between our institutions. And I think it's those sorts of relationships that are the best way for us to support Ghana in this transition.
All right. Okay. I wouldn't say finally, but I know you have a lot to do today. You have a lot of places to visit.
We have a packed agenda, we do.
What kind of legacy should we expect from you between this time and maybe the time you say goodbye? What you don't like saying goodbye?
I don't like saying goodbye. I really don't. No.
But what kind of legacy do you want to leave behind?
I feel a bit awkward answering that question. I'll tell you why. I don't feel that this job is about me personally. This job is about my turn in building and strengthening what's already a very deep relationship between our two countries. In the time that I'm here, I want to build on the excellent work that my predecessors have done to further deepen our economic partnership, bringing in more UK companies, more UK investment to Ghana, and also boosting the trade in the other direction as well. I think that by growing the private sector, that's how we'll create the jobs that Ghana needs in order to make this transition. I also want to look more at the work that we're doing in the security space together with the human development space, and think about how that plays out across Ghana's northern border, where Ghana is thinking about avoiding the risk of insecurity from the Sahel, from Burkina Faso, from coming downwards into the country. But mostly, I really see this as a progression rather than a 4-year period with a start and an end to it.
It would be amazing to have, say, Kotoka, Heathrow, and to have, say, Kumasi, Gatwick.
Wouldn't it? Wouldn't it? those will be commercial decisions, but I'm really pleased that we've got UK involvement in the development of Kumasi Airport, turning it into an internationally recognised airport.
Yeah, Kumasi Gatwick.
Yeah.
I don't need to go to Accra.
Brilliant.
Anyway, thank you so much for passing through. I wish you all the best. And when will be your next visit to Kumasi?
I hope it will be soon. His Royal Majesty was telling me yesterday about some festivals that there are coming up.
Oh, yeah.
And I would love to come and visit and join in some of those.
The Akwesi Day. You have to be part.
I would love to.
The last Akwesi Day for the year. Brilliant.
That's what he said.
It's amazing. It's historic.
Yeah.
You have to be here.
I would love to.
Okay, now, do the last translation and then you will bring our special gift for Her Excellency.
Okay.
Where the kakrabi
kakrabi. Ubisano efa COVID. Say COVID no so COVID no more support to Ghana with about 850,000 doses. CC koso na omo onyini se be break relationship Ghana na say Africa ne UK for entem kwan bia so no gidi se aman kae no so de umbetimi se de be beboa na COVID no ye nyina atumi afight atia na aboa yo say UK ye nyina anim se omo free EU enti omo hwese omo benya other partners omo enu ombeka bom no omo aye adwuma no omo aboa ewo sikasem adwuma sem ene ne mpuntu enso eso ewo man emu na ubisa ne fa say identity so bi tu kwan every Ghana ne other countries so kodo say man 10 days quarantine no so nhihye empanyimfo aye na de ne de ene se Ghana yenkoto red no so da na one ne nkrofo na wase ne nso ye do mbetim se de be ya ombeputu Ghana ewo baabi ase utu kwan free Ghana na se wo ko UK onkonko bre bebre sa se de be nya se vaccine certificate system bi anso betimi akoso Ghana ene UK wase ye share relationship kesiye pa eno na ode just about be 30 seconds with the profile Ghana o say ye dwadie mu ye konkan ye ena afi no say ye leader ono na di ECOWAS anim ena African Continental Free Trade say ye si omodan kesiye ewo Ghana ha say ena Ghana nso ba ne say ye bunkrofo for awudi enti ankrofo for awudi so ne ayonkofa no nso ewo so pa enti Ghana eyo man kesiya obi a be pese wode no ho ebebo ubisan bibi efa mampanya asem okokan efa se yemfa yenkoka EU African Union enkoka G20 na nye G21 also ensusu ye papa ene mampanyini na nado danko akufo ado susu ye because owe bi ekua omodo so sa na so omoka bom ne potential sa ewo Africa na so omo represent ewo G20 no se be G21 and to gidi sempanyimfo adwene ho no sabe omo adwene ho. You talk about corruption Ghana Nigeria or say Ghana ye ya de ba kopa digitization na ye de ba no ebema woman to woman contact to say enipa ni nipa share offices ni ade bebre no eno nso boa ema womo ekutia corruption womo agencies ewo Ghana ha say ya womo eboa Ghana for no wakomiese nyina so say de be ya yenso ye ho betimi ayedene amayako ede atia ketahye ene dream die ya ekoso ewo other African countries no eso sanso eno kasa edefa enhihye ya omo obusa no fa Mali ni Guinea pinte asi ewo ho no eno so kire na adwene efa ho wako Cape so wako akosumbo Cape Coast ni akosumbo okọ ye ne miamia hodo okọ ye okọ Ghana said ye niema esitie no ogidi se omo okwan bi they want to support ewo kwan bi so eno so ye nhihye ya ogidi se ye tie empanyimfo no achi na so womo nso ahoden a wo man mu ase no womo nso e de boaye a ebetimi e develop enya ne papa de free ye tourist centers ahodo bebre a wo man mu ase no enso eso ubisa no fa COVID
trose oh enye
ubisa okay ubisa no Ghana Beyond Aid eno se Ghana Beyond Aid ya de a emu ehia yie pa na de ba ko be ha ye no COVID na hot no nso gidi se ekoye nim no e betimi make good use of it.
All right, okay, yes, thank you so much.